Hi guys, today I'm not going to show you how to make a pendant. I've already made one here. It's just a mica shift pendant, but what I want to show you is how I actually finish my pendants. A lot of people have asked me how I finish them, and in particular how I do the backs with resin and glitter. So I thought I'd quickly show you how. So this is a baked piece, and I'm going to sand the top and the edges, and then I'll show you how I do the resin on the back. I'm not going to go through all the grits with you because that would be so boring, but just to give you an idea of how I do it, I'll show you that quickly. So you're going to need a bowl of water like that, and then you're also going to need what they call wet/dry sandpapers. Let me just grab one of the packets. The ones I get look like this, and it will say wet or dry at the top. And this is a 3000 grit, which is a very fine grit. But to start off with, oftentimes when you've baked something, you can get some little crumbs left on the edge, or it might feel a little rough. So if it feels a little rough like that, start on a coarser grit. Now this is 320. Bear in mind that I do tend to burnish my things, but for the purpose of this video I will show you. So get your wet or dry sandpaper, dip it in the water and the pendant as well. Okay, and then this is how I do it. I start over the surface like this in circular motions, and then I take it over the sides again in a circular motion, and then you can just give it a rub like this as well, and then turn the pendant and keep doing that. So what I also like to do, so I don't keep sanding my fingers off, is to hold it flat in my hand like this. Sometimes a piece is a bit tricky to hold it like this, but this is a nice flat and fairly large piece, so it's fairly easy to do that. So just go around the whole pendant, like this, again in circular motions. And I'm actually dying to see how this is going to turn out. This is my first time using the Cernit Pearl range, and this is the purple pearl, and I can already see it is going to be so shimmery and shiny. So this is why I chose this particular pendant, because it's going to look so amazing once it's sanded and buffed. Okay, so you don't have to take forever about it. Just go around with each grit and just feel with your finger, and you'll feel it's starting to get smoother. So that's the 320 grit, that's the lower grit, and that's getting all the rough edges off and giving the surface a good old sand. And I think that will do for that grit. So that's the 320 done. Then I would move on to a 400 grit. Same thing, wet or dry sandpaper, and same thing. Just go around in circular motions like this, and the same on the edges. Okay, so that's all I'm going to show you sanding wise, because you don't need to watch me go through all the grits. I do the exact same thing going through all the grits. I'll just finish with this 400, and then we'll talk about which grits to use next. So I'm just going to quickly finish this. And already you can start to feel it getting smoother. But it's when you get up to the higher grits where you really start to see the shine. So I'm just going to leave that there, and you just need to do the same exact thing through all the grits. And as you could see, a few minutes on each grit, that's all you really need. And then I'm going to go through the next lot of grits. So I've done 320, 400. Sometimes I would do 600, but I don't have any, so I'm just jumping straight to 800. And then I would go to 1000, 1500, 2000 and 3000. So they're all the grits that I would use to get that really lovely silky smooth finish and shine to a piece. Bear in mind though, obviously it's going to have more of a shine if you're using a pearlescent or metallic clay like this one. If you were just to use the regular clay, you're still going to get a nice soft sheen, but obviously it's not going to shine like one like this is going to. So they're the grits, and I'm just going to go and finish sanding this off camera, and I'll be back to show you the next step. Okay guys, I've gone through all the grits. I'm just on my last one now, which is the 3000, which is a very fine grit. Some people go even higher than that, but I find that 3000 is more than enough to get that lovely shine. So I'm just going to quickly show you this, and you can already see, maybe you can see the difference from when I first showed this to you to now. So I'm just doing the same thing, just giving it a good rub all over, and then taking it to the edges in a circular motion, and turning the pendant in your fingers and doing the same thing. And I'm just going to feel, make sure it's nice and smooth. The top is just a little bit of roughness there, just very slightly, and that's all you need to do. Just keep running your finger over and see how it feels, and I think that's good. Okay, so that's through all the grits. Let me just move this out the way and move on to the next step now. Let me just give this a dry. Okay, so we're not going to resin the front of this. Sorry, we're not going to buff the front of this just yet, because we want to resin the back first. And so many people have asked how I do this. I can speak today, not. Okay, so what I do is I get a tile, just a cheap ceramic tile. I got this one from Home Depot, and this blue painter's tape, and I just take off a strip, tear it off like that, and then what I do is I fold it over on either side like this, so you've got some sticky face down onto the tile, and this part is sticky so that your pendant or earrings or whatever can stick to it without moving. And I just find this an easy way to resin without the piece moving around, and you just place your piece on top and you're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to resin this, and then I'm going to add some glitter to the resin, and it speaks for itself how you do it. You add glitter to the resin. It's really that simple. There's no big mystery to it or anything. So I've just poured some UV resin, and I use this one, onto my tile, and now I'm just going to shake some of this glitter into the resin like so. You can always add more glitter if you want to. Just give it a mix to see how it looks. And I'm thinking I might actually need a little bit more, because this is quite a big pendant, so I'm just going to add a little bit more resin and some more glitter, just to make sure I've got enough. So give it a good old mix, and then you just use a cocktail stick just to apply it to the back, and I just dripped some I'll sort that out later. And just apply it to the back. If you do get a drip like that, don't panic, just cure it as you were going to, and you can always come back to that and sand it off. It happens. This stuff can be quite messy. So just continue to add it, and I'm having a hard time holding this because I don't know if you can see my thumb. That is actually from getting resin on it, and it dries my skin out to the point of it cracking, and it's been like that for like 2 weeks now, and it won't seem to heal. So I'm having a hard time holding this. Okay, so you just need to keep adding it. I'll let you in on a little secret though. Maybe I shouldn't be telling you this because it is a cheap way of doing this. What I actually do is pour the resin directly onto the pendant and then add the glitter and mix it in. But if you're not confident with using resin, that you could get into a bit of a mess. So that's why I'm showing you this way. But that's usually what I do. Pour the resin directly onto the pendant in the center of the pendant, and then add the glitter and then mix it on the pendant. But that's it's not a bad way of doing it, it's just how I do it, and you can do it that way if you want to. I'm just showing you like this because really, like I say, if you're not overly confident, you might end up pouring too much resin onto the pendant and then it will overflow, and then you might add too much glitter and again it will overflow. So I'm showing you the safe way. This is the safe way of doing it, even though I did manage to drip some on there as you saw. But yeah, that's my little secret. Don't tell anybody. Shh. Okay, so when you're happy with that, if you feel like you want to add more, you can. So you just gently dragging it to the edges, and that's it, guys. That's all there is to it. You are literally adding glitter to UV resin. Okay, so that's the back. It just needs to go under the UV lamp, which I've got here. I've got two. This is just my little pink one. So you just need to stick the whole tile under there, and it will cure the resin that you got on the tile, and you'll be able to scrape it off with your knife once it's cured. So I'm just going to stick this under here, maybe for 3 minutes. This only does a timer of 99 seconds, 60 seconds or 30 seconds. But my other UV lamp, you can actually leave it on for as long as 30 minutes without worrying about it. But this is a nice little one. So I'm just going to leave that, and then I'll be back when it's cured. Alright guys, I'm back, and I cured the back of this. So there's the back, nice and glittery and sparkly, and that's nicely cured. Now I did get a little tiny bit of resin on the front. You saw me drop a little bit. Don't panic if that happens. Just flip it over, cure it, make sure it's cured, and then just get some sandpaper and sand it back off. Now I was able to get mine off with the 3000 grit. You might have to resand all over again if it's a really bad drip, but this was only a tiny bit, so I managed to sand it off with just my highest grit, so there was no real issue. Okay, so there's the back, and this is the front, all sanded, and the sides are sanded. But now we need to get that shine to really come through. So what I do is add a little tiny dollop, not even a dollop, of Rennaisance wax, and I literally just take a little bit on my finger. I'm running low, so I'm having to go to the bottom of the tin. That might even be too much, but you can see it's just a tiny bit on my finger, and I'm just going to gently rub it in to the piece like this, and it is a little bit too much, but don't worry. And then just take it around the edges as well, so you can give those edges a nice buff. Now you probably can't pick it up on camera, but it does look smeary. Again, don't worry, because what you're going to do now is, I'm just going to rub a little bit off, there is a little too much on there. What you're going to do now is just let it sit for about 3 minutes so it dries off, and then we can buff it. So I'm just going to let that sit for a minute, and while that's doing its thing, I just want to show you the little buffing machine that I use, and I got this from a hardware store. It's called Harbour Freight in the USA, but I have seen them on Amazon, so I will leave a link to this, and you just attach different buffing wheels. It's actually a bench grinder, but you can add the fluffy buffing wheels as well. Now I know some people use a Dremel, but I personally couldn't get a handle on that, so I'm good with this. And I think I paid about $40 for it. I know on Amazon they're a little bit more expensive, but if you are in the USA you can get them from Harbour Freight, and they're usually a little bit cheaper than that. So there's that. I'm just checking to see, just a little longer. What else can I talk about? I might as well just show you what I'm going to do once this is buffed. So what I'll do is get my handy little drill like this. Again, I'll leave you a link to these, and a pinch bail. This is just a very simple way of finishing my pendants, and I do a lot like this. I vary it from time to time. I might cut a bigger hole in the centre and add some kind of cord where you wrap it over several times and pull it through, and then add things, the cord ends, and then a clasp and a jump ring. But for the most part I keep it simple, just because that's what I like to do. Okay, so you're going to need a hand drill, a pinch bail, and then some kind of cord or ribbon. And I use these ones. It's cord and ribbon together, just like an organza ribbon. Again, I'll leave the link to those as well. Okay, so that's enough rambling, and I think this is dry enough to now start buffing. So I just hold it in between my fingers like this, turn the machine on, and off we go. And just get the piece and move it around in a circular motion like this. Don't press too hard, it's just very, very gentle pressure. And then turn, and just keep doing that all over the pendant. Turn. I'm not revealing this just now. I'm so excited to see how this pearl cernet is going to look, so I'm not even looking myself right now. Now this is quite a big piece. I'm having a bit of trouble fitting it in there, but it just fits. Obviously with a smaller piece it won't be so awkward. So just keep going over the piece. It doesn't take long, and just making sure I've got the edges. And now you want to do the edges. So hold it this way and just let it spin around in your fingers like that. So you get those nice shiny edges too. Okay, and that's all there is to it. So this is the moment of truth. What is this going to look like? Oh my goodness. Oh wow, that is so shiny. Oh my gosh, I love it. This is new to me, as new as it probably is to you guys. So wow, look at this shine. Oh my gosh. And that's the Cernit Pearl. Let me see if I can just find it and I'll show you which one I used. I made my first order of Cernit just the other day. Well, I just received it the other day. So I'm still like trying to get used to it. But yeah, it's this. It's Cernit and it's the Pearl range that they've just bought out. And this is violet. I got the other colours as well, but like I say, this is just a simple mica shift. But look at that, that's amazing. It's almost like glass. And that's without resin. That is so cool. Anyway, enough of that. Right, so that's the finished pendant. We just need to add our findings now. And I'm just trying to decide which way I want it to hang. I think there. So we've got to find the centre roughly of where you're going to drill your hole. So I'm just hoping for the best, just eyeballing it really. I'm just going to move my hand out the way so I can see better. I think about there's good. And then just hold your drill in place. Oops, I lost it. This is so shiny, it's slippy. Okay, so I've found where I want my hole to be here, and I'm just going to screw down maybe 3 or 4 times, just for enough, just enough so the drill has grabbed onto the clay. And I found that to get a straight line going through, it's better to hold it upright rather than drilling down onto the table, because I've done that before, and when I've lifted it up, the drill's gone in at a weird angle. So what I do now is lift it up and then start to drill, but be careful of your fingers at the back. Okay, and as you start to feel it poking through, move your fingers out the way and just continue to drill. And polymer clay is really easy to drill, so, and then flip it over and go through the back as well. It just gives the whole a tidier look if you do that. Okay, and that's the hole done. So now all we need to do is add our pinch bail. I just need to get some pliers to open the pinch bail. So I just get some pliers and open the bail up like so. Make sure you get it wide enough so it's going to fit over the pendant, and then just pop it into the holes. And my thumb really hurts and it's kind of awkward for me to do this right now. Ouch. Push it through, she says. Easy, she says. It is when you haven't got a weird thumb. Okay, it's in. So there's my little pinch bail. And then all I'm going to do now is add my cord through there like that. And I always put the lobster clasp on the right. I mean, obviously people can be left-handed too, but that's how I do mine. And it's as simple as that, guys. Okay, so there's a finished piece. So I baked my piece, I sanded it through all the grits, which I've already listed on the front and the sides, but because we were resin in the back, we didn't need to sand the back as well. You don't need to sand if you're going to do resin. It would be pointless. The only reason you would probably sand is if it's a little bit rough on the back and you want to get those really rough spots off. But other than that, you're not going to go through all the grits to then just resin it, if that makes sense. Alright guys, so there's the sanded and buffed finished piece. There it is on the back, nice and glittery. And the findings are added. And you're good to go. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Bye.